The power of stepping back. There comes a point in life where words aren't enough, where explaining yourself over and over feels like trying to fill a leaking bucket. And no matter how much you pour in, it keeps draining out. It keeps draining out. And that's when you realize you don't need to talk them into treating you right. You don't need to keep proving your worth to people who already know it, but choose to ignore it. Sometimes silence screams the loudest. You don't have to slam the door. You don't have to start a fight. You don't have to start a fight. You don't even have to give them a speech about how they hurt you. Because deep down, they already know. They already feel the shift in your energy, even if they pretend not to notice. The thing about people is, they can sense when your spirit no longer bends for them. They can tell when you've stopped overthinking their every text, stopped chasing, stopped being the one to patch every crack in the connection. They might not say it, but they feel it. And here's the truth. When you stop showing up, when your energy is no longer theirs to consume freely, they notice. Your absence is a mirror. It reflects back to them all the times they took you for granted, all the moments they assumed you'd always be there, all the effort they never matched because they thought your love was endless. And here's the hard, beautiful truth. If your presence didn't make them treat you right, your absence will make them regret it. People think strength is in confrontation. Sometimes, yes. But there's another kind of strength. Quiet, graceful, and unshakable. The strength of stepping back, not to punish, not to play games, but to protect your peace. You see, every time you chase after someone who doesn't match your effort, you send them a silent message. I'll accept less than I deserve. And every time you forgive without change, you tell them, you can hurt me and I'll still stay. But when you step back, one that says, I love myself enough to walk away from what diminishes me. I am not afraid to lose someone who isn't afraid to lose me. And it's not easy. Stepping back feels unnatural at first, especially when you're used to giving, fixing, trying. It feels like you're doing nothing. But in reality, you're doing everything. You're teaching yourself that you don't have to force love to keep it. You're learning that the right people don't have to be convinced to stay. And that's one of the most freeing truths you'll ever know. The people who truly see your worth will never risk losing it. Think about this. When you stop pouring your time, energy, and heart into someone who takes you for granted, something shifts in the relationship. Just envy you. At first, they might not react. They might even pretend they don't care. But silence has a way of making people listen. Distance has a way of making people remember. They remember the little things. The way you cared, the way you supported them, the way you cared, the way you supported them, the way you brought peace to their chaos. And the realization hits. It's gone. That energy they thought they could come back to whenever they wanted. It's not waiting for them anymore. And now, let's be clear. Stepping back isn't about manipulation. It's about self-respect. It's about saying, I'm not going to keep showing up where I'm not valued. It's about taking the love, care, and attention you've been giving away and redirecting it to yourself. Because here's the truth. You can't heal in the same environment that's hurting you. Okay, good. Sometimes the only way to protect your heart is to put space between it and the people who keep breaking it. You know what's powerful? Not blocking them out of anger, not sending a long emoji text, not begging them to understand, but begging them to understand. What's powerful is when you just stop showing up. No announcement, no explanation, just quiet, consistent absence. And one day they'll wake up and realize the version of you they knew doesn't exist anymore. The one who overgave, overloved, overextended, she's gone. Stepping back is a declaration of worth. It's saying, I am not here to compete for your attention. I am not here to audition for a permanent role in your life. If you cannot value my presence, you do not get the privilege of it. And here's the secret no one tells you. When you master the power of stepping back, you stop attracting people who only half love you. The ones who care will reach out. They will match your effort. They will step up. The ones who don't will fade away. And that's exactly how it's meant to be. I know it's tempting to go back. to break the silence, rush in and fill the space with your presence again. But I promise you, if you can sit with the discomfort long enough, something beautiful happens. You start hearing yourself again, your thoughts, your needs, your boundaries. You remember that you're not just valuable when you're giving to others. You're valuable simply because you exist. So here's the lesson. Stop convincing people of your worth. Stop over-explaining why you deserve respect. You teach people how to treat you, not to treat you, not with your words, but with your actions. And sometimes the most powerful action you can take is to step back. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone has earned the right to stay in your life, and you don't need to apologize for protecting your peace, because in the end, your absence speaks louder than your words ever could. It says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I bring, and I will not stay where I am not valued. So step back. Not in anger, not in bitterness. Step back in self-love. Step back in clarity. Step back because you know that your worth does not decrease when someone fails to see it. Let them feel the silence. Let them feel the distance. Let them see the space you once filled with your presence. And let them realize they will never find it again in the same way. Because once you choose yourself, you never go back to being the version of you who tolerated less. Final truth, your absence is not punishment. It's protection. It's your soul saying, I deserve better, and I'm willing to be alone until better comes. That is the power of stepping back. When distance becomes your voice, there comes a time when words just don't work anymore. You've explained, you've defended, you've justified. You've repeated yourself so many times you could recite your feelings in your sleep. But they still don't hear you. Not because they don't understand, but because they don't want to. And that's when you realize distance speaks in a language people can't ignore. See, when you're close, they get used to you. They get used to the sound of your laughter, the warmth of your presence, the way you soften the room just by walking into it. They stop noticing the weight you carry, the effort you make, the love you give without asking for anything in return. But then when you step back, when your chair at the table is suddenly empty, when your name stops appearing on their phone, that's when the silence starts to echo. Distance is not revenge. It's not a game. It's not about making someone miss you so they'll come crawling back. It's about reclaiming your energy. It's about saying, I refuse to beg for what should be freely given. If you cannot meet me halfway, you can watch me walk the rest of the way without you. People underestimate the power of absence until it's staring them in the face. They don't realize that your energy is the thing holding the connection together. They think you'll always be there because you always have been. But when you step back, they start to feel the weight of the empty space. And here's the truth. Silence makes people listen. Distance makes them see. When you stop calling, they notice the phone is quieter. When you stop checking in, they realize no one else cares the way you did. When you stop showing up, they feel the void in ways words could never make them feel. And suddenly, every ignored text, every brushed off moment, every time they made you feel small, it comes back to them. Not because you reminded them, but because your distance forced them to face it. Here's what you have to understand. Distance is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not surrender. Distance is strength. It is the refusal to keep pouring into a cup that has no bottom. It is the conscious decision to put your energy where it is valued, not where it is drained. When distance becomes your voice, you stop chasing. You stop begging for basic decency. You stop trying to convince someone to see your worth. Because you finally understand, the right people will never have to be reminded. They will feel your absence before you ever have to explain it. I'm not telling you it's easy. Because it's not. You will want to break the silence. You will want to send out a just checking in text. You will want to rush back into the familiar, even if the familiar was hurting you. But here's the thing. If you can sit with the discomfort, if you can resist the urge to run back into spaces that didn't value you, something beautiful happens. You start to hear yourself again. Without the noise of their neglect, your thoughts get clearer. Without the chaos of their inconsistency, your heart feels lighter. Without the constant need to prove your worth, you remember who you are. Distance doesn't just show them who you are. It reminds you who you are. Because when you've been too close for too long, you can forget. You can forget you are more than the role you've been playing in someone else's life. You can forget that your happiness does not depend on their approval. But distance will teach you. It will teach you that your peace matters. It will teach you that your energy is precious. It will teach you that not everyone deserves access to you. And yes, sometimes they will come back. They will say they miss you. They will try to step back into your life like nothing happened. But here's where your growth shows. You'll realize that missing you is not the same as valuing you. Wanting you back is not the same as wanting to treat you right. And unless their actions match their words, you'll keep your distance, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. When distance becomes your voice, you stop arguing. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-explaining. You stop lowering your standards just to keep someone around. Because you finally understand you are not hard to love. You are just not in the right hands. And the right hands, they won't need distance to wake them up. They'll value you while they have you. Not after you're gone. Not after you're gone. Let me tell you something powerful. When you walk away from what is not serving you, when you create space between you and someone who cannot see your worth, that is the moment you create room for better to find you. Because the universe, or God, or whatever you believe in, does not fill your life with abundance while you're still holding on to what's draining you. Distance is the clearing. It is the reset button. It is the way you make space for what you truly deserve. So if you are in a place right now where your heart feels heavy, where your love feels like work, where your presence feels unnoticed, step back. Not in anger, not to manipulate, but to protect yourself. And as you step back, remember, you are not being cold. You are not being cold. You are not being cruel. You are not being cruel. You are simply choosing yourself. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It's survival. It's saying, I will not lose myself trying to keep someone else. And here's the magic. When you make that choice, you will notice a shift in your energy. You will feel lighter. So shift in your energy. You will feel lighter. Confident. More free. And the people who truly love you, they will notice too. They will respect the space you've taken and they will close the gap. Not because you begged, but because they value you enough to meet you where you are. The ones who don't, they were never meant to stay. So let your distance speak. So let your distance speak. Let it carry the message you've been trying to say for months, maybe years. I deserve more than this. I will not stay where I am not appreciated. I am not afraid to walk away. One day, they will realize what they lost. Lost. One day, they will remember the peace you brought, the love you gave, the way you made them feel seen. But by then, it won't matter. Because by then, you will have found a life that feels full without them in it. That is the beauty of distance. It not only shows others your worth, it shows it to you too. And once you see it, really see it, you'll never go back to being the person who begged for the bare minimum. Final truth. When distance becomes your voice, you no longer need to scream to be heard. Your silence speaks, your absence echoes, and the right people will listen. Reclaiming your energy, there comes a time in life when you realize you've been running on empty. You've been giving and giving and giving and giving and giving until there's nothing left for you. And you don't notice it at first. Because the world has taught you that being a good means being selfless, that love means sacrifice, that your value is measured by how much you can pour into other people's cups, even if yours is bone dry. But one day you wake up and you feel it. That heaviness in your chest. That heaviness in your chest. That quiet exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. And it hits you. You've been feeding everyone else while starving yourself. Reclaiming your energy is not about shutting people out. It's about coming home to yourself. It's about looking at where your time, attention, and love have been going and asking, is this feeding me or is this draining me? Because here's the truth. You only have so much energy in a day, in a lifetime. And if you keep handing it out callously to people and places that give you nothing back, you will burn out. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. You know the signs. You're tired, but not from work. You're tired from being everything for everyone and nothing for yourself. You're tired of explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand. You're tired of giving love to people who only know how to take it. And here's the thing, the longer you allow it, the more it becomes your normal. You start to believe that life is supposed to feel like this. Supposed to feel like this. Like a constant cycle of pouring yourself out, with no one pouring into you. But it's not normal. It's not love. It's not healthy. Reclaiming your energy means finally saying, enough. It means putting your own oxygen mask on first. Not because you've stopped caring about others, but because you've started caring about yourself. Let's be real. Not everyone in your life deserves your energy. Some people only come to you when they need something. Some people drain you with their constant negativity. Some people take your kindness for granted and give you nothing in return, and yet you keep showing up. Why? Because you've been taught that walking away is cold, that setting boundaries is selfish. But I want you to understand selfish. What I want you to understand is protecting your energy is not selfish. Self-respect. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every time you listen to someone's problems, every time you give your time, every time you show up for them, you're making a withdrawal. But here's the question. Who's making deposits? If the answer is no one, you are heading for emotional bankrupt. You are heading for emotional bankrupt. Reclaiming your energy is about becoming aware of where your withdrawals are going and cutting off the accounts that are draining you dry. It's about saying, I will no longer invest in relationships that don't invest in me. I will no longer spend hours worrying about people who don't even think about me. I will no longer give my best to people who treat me like I'm optional. And here's the beautiful part. When you reclaim your energy, you get to decide where it goes. You get to choose who has access to you. You get to pour into the people and passions that actually fill you back up. Because when your energy is yours again, you start living on purpose. You start creating instead of constantly repairing. You start loving from abundance, not depletion. But here's the hard truth. To reclaim your energy, you will have to let go of some people. You will have to walk away from certain situations. You will have to stop showing up for those who never show up for you. And that will be uncomfortable. Because giving is your comfort zone. Fixing is your default. Pouring yourself out is what you've always done. But you have to ask yourself, if I keep living like this, where will I be in 5 years? Where will I be in 5 years? Reclaiming your energy is about making the brave choice now, so you can live free later. It's about saying, I am no longer available for relationships that drain me. I will no longer be the one who holds everything together while falling apart myself. Well, I will no longer abandon myself to keep someone else comfortable. You might lose people when you start protecting your energy, but you will gain yourself. And that is the best trade you will ever make. Because once you have yourself, your peace, your joy, your strength, you can rebuild anything. You can attract better. You can love without losing yourself in the process. So how do you reclaim your energy? First, you get honest about where it's going. Make a list if you have to. Who makes you feel lighter? After you talk to them, who makes you feel heavier? Who leaves you feeling seen and who leaves you feeling small? Next, you set boundaries and stick to them. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not everyone is entitled to unlimited access to you. And then you refill your own cup. Do the things that make you feel alive again. Spend time alone. Read, create, rest, say a no without guilt. The more you protect your energy, the more powerful you become. Because you stop reacting to every demand. You stop being pulled in every demand. You stop being pulled in every direction. You start living life on your terms. And here's the secret. When you reclaim your energy, you stop attracting people who only want to take. Because takers can't survive with our boundaries. They'll disappear, and that's exactly what you need. Some people will call you distant. Some will say you've changed. Some will try to guilt you back into the old version of yourself, the one who gave without limits. Let them talk. Let them be uncomfortable. Because your growth will always feel like loss to those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Reclaiming your energy is not about building walls. It's about building doors and deciding who gets a key. It's about saying, I love you, but I love me too. I can care about you and still choose not to drain myself for you. It's about remembering that you are not here to be everyone's healer, fixer, or emotional crutch. You are here to live, to create, to love from a place of fullness, not emptiness. And here's the most important thing I'll say. Your energy is your life. Where it goes, your life, where it goes, your life follows. So guard it, protect it. Value it like the priceless currency it is. Because when you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your freedom, you reclaim your clarity, you reclaim your power, and that's when you finally step into the life you were meant to live. Final truth. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You don't have to keep breaking yourself to keep something whole. You don't have to give pieces of yourself away until there's nothing left. You are allowed to choose you. You are allowed to choose you. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to take back everything you've been giving away and pour it into yourself. Because when you reclaim your energy, you reclaim you, you reclaim you.